Manny Medina, founder and executive chairman of Outreach, join us for a fireside chat with Jason Napieralski. Jason is a GTM leader hailing from Amazon, Google, and Oracle, and all of the greatest. Manny, super excited to have you on the show. How have you been? What's new? What's up with the AI monetization?
Jason, do you want to go first?
No, no, you please.
What's new? I mean, what is not new? Every day there's something new. Like it's actually kind of hard to keep up. Um, I just noticed there was an article on the Wall Street Journal. I'm actually kind of late, so this is going to be rehashing something that happened in February 1st, as opposed to for 10 days ago. That the vendors that are selling agents or co-pilots have mispriced them, and they have failed to align their offerings to delivering customer value or aligning, what they charge to what the customer is getting for it. So they're getting a lot of bites, a lot of POC pilots, and very little actual revenue traction. So even though, okay, so clearly Microsoft is killing it because the numbers are going up and to the right, and their Copilot sales are up. But I saw that in back in my day when I was working at General Motors, where there was this thing called stuffing the channel, when you put a lot of revenue into the channel pre-sale, based on like bundling and based on client access licenses that have everything in like this big sausage of stuff in it, and then they just don't get used. And what happens is now you have a big churn event at the end of the year. So I feel like we're still sort of like feeling out the elephant of this, or what is agents and what is that it does for you, and how do you pricing, how do you bring it to market, how do you add the value. That unless you take some risks, and unless you actually go and talk to your customers and ask them like, how would you like this thing to be priced, how is it delivering value for you, and then like custom write that contract, it's going to be a slug. Like trying to fit this into your all cute, um CPQ, and trying to make sure that it fits in one of your, packages, and like make sure that your SKUs don't break is nonsense. Like at this point, we should be experimenting with pricing, experimenting with messaging, and just going and getting closer to customers as opposed to like trying to scale. Um, anyway, I'm getting all spun up in my rants. I'm gonna stop right here and let Jason fill in with more sensical stuff.
So, Manny, it's really nice to meet you, by the way. We haven't met before. And your platform, your software is very impressive. I take a look at it. I think I might want to use it myself. So you've done an amazing job. I think you've hit the head on kind of helping automate the busy work from salespeople, which I think is a really, noble idea, and I think what we should all achieve, because Salesforce has destroyed our lives for way too long.
That's right.
There's nothing I hate more than Salesforce and everything that it touches. It's like the Death Star to me. Um, so I think great. But first of all, kudos to you. And just from my background, so I've been around big tech for a long time. I've kind of done a lot of tours in the different big tech companies. I've worked for Oracle, which does exactly what you described from a pricing perspective as their main go-to-market motion, which is basically dump all the software on the customers and then sue them for using it after the contract. And that's how they make their model. But I think what you're saying is really important, because I do believe that we don't understand, us in tech, especially in enterprise tech, which is kind of my expertise. Um, we're kind of screwed right now as far as the enterprise tech business. Um, we haven't provided incremental value to the customer since 1995. Since the internet came out, the productivity has gone
100%.
down, not up.
Oh yeah.
And I believe that the pricing models are artificial, and basically there's been a large club at the top of the enterprise market that has sold all their garbage to each other at high margins, high prices. The customers and the owners of the tech companies all go to the same clubs, all live in the same places, all live in Atherton on the same street, and they just they just pet each other, and give each other giant contracts and then deliver that to the users who have no idea what the heck to do with this stuff. They have these old outdated processes. It doesn't matter. They just drop it right down on them and they say, good luck. And the pricing model is nonsensical because it doesn't matter. It's a payola from one Atherton guy on the corner to the guy at the court on the other side. So it's been artificial and it's been horrible for a really long time. AI is showing its complete lack of scalability on that process, so that way of doing things, because AI is allowing you to look outside of the enterprise software suite, and matter of fact, requiring it, and them just tacking it on and then adding a subscription price or an extra usage price is not something that people are going to your point earlier, is not going to people are going to see value in that. And the entire thing breaks because of my favorite equation. This is from Michael Hammer's, the kind of the founder of business process engineering. But my favorite quote is NT plus OP equals EOP. And that is new technology plus old process equals expensive old process. And what I see happening in the market is the numbers that you're seeing that you're talking about. Yeah, they're killing it. The AI stuff is killing it, but it's people with FOMO that are desperately trying to get as many tools into the system as possible, and they're throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks. And they're doing that NT plus OP equals EOP at scale. And AI just makes them screw it up faster and with more spectacular results. So I think you're right. Just from the opening there, I think you're onto something. But I think it's a bigger case. And also I think, and I made this comment on LinkedIn. Not many. I think I had like thousands of impressions, two comments or two reactions to the thousands of impressions article. Basically, me saying that 70 to 80% of all enterprise software employees could go. And I think a lot of people are afraid to like that, but I think Elon has shown us the truth of this. And I do believe that, the AI, kind of revolution is not, they're not looking at it like, hey, I actually have an AI agent that can replace this guy and I can fire this guy with this agent. But what they're looking at is like, hey, we are so inefficient. We make sales 80% margins. We can cut as many people as we want and we can just blame it on AI. And that's what's really going on rather than people being replaced by AI.
100%. I think that when you double click on what you just said, Jason, it's pretty powerful because just take an FTE, and just let's make the math simple. So an FTE is $100,000, just to make again the math simple. But for every $100,000 of FTE, you have another, I don't know, $100 per month of CRM, $50 per month of ERP, another $100 per month of payroll, another, they decide to buy Notion and whatever the hell tool that is their pet thing. And then for every one FTE, for every six FTEs, oh, you need a manager. So you got a sixth of a manager. The manager is 200,000. And six, one six is 200,000. It's like another, 50,000 or so. And then you have like, and for every 60 of these guys, there is an HR, business leader. And that, and so what it turns out is $100,000 of a human being. You end up with like almost $75,000 of additional cost between software and other people, and like your stipend and whatever the hell, that actually adds up to a lot more. So when you say, "Look, I'm gonna take 30% of that role and I'm just gonna automate it and I'm just gonna make it AI," like the 30%, it's not just 30% of that role; it's that entire iceberg of like nonsense software and process and like blah 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 that you bought that poof, free cash flow. And
Right.
who doesn't like that? It's free
Right.
money and it's just all around you. You see what I mean? So what I'm seeing, I just spend like months and months and months talking to AI agent companies, going around and just finding buckets of people because it's so easy to say like to find this group of individuals and say, look, I'm not gonna fire anybody, but I'm gonna retain you and not expand and free up all this cash. You know what I mean? From not having to do this nonsense work and from having, managers and other things that actually drive up costs. So you're 100% right, and this train has left the station.
Yeah, exactly. And One of there's a guy that I know that does he's really early on AI. He actually understands the large language models and how they're built and how to program it. So he's like a real AI guy, unlike the rest of us who say we know AI, but basically we can type prompts into
Yeah,
ChatGPT.
yeah, yeah. We're
That's what
Monday
we can
morning.
do.
Monday
Yeah, we
morning.
know how to type. But anyway, this guy, his name is Jason Wells, really good guy. Follow him on LinkedIn. He's got a lot of good things. And he focuses on AI, but he focuses on the kind of the small problem to fix, to automate the problem that is known, right? That you're already doing RPA on, that you've got a repeatable process. That is where you focus your AI attention. Not at this higher level kind of pseudo AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, which is what we're talking about with these artificial agents, right? And he said that, and this really stuck with me closely. He says anything you can outsource to a lower cost region, India or whatever, Philippines, you can automate with AI. And that alone is a tremendous opportunity to cut massive amounts of staff and to really be simple. If you have to explain something very simply with the steps and you have your process around, you could use AI to automate that.
Yeah.
And I think that is the right use case. That's the right way to go. What I think is the wrong way to go, and a very wrong way to go, is to try to automate your frontline people who touch your customers with AI. That should be the very, very last thing you do once you've automated everything and your CEO is an AGI. Then you should start automating that. Because what's happening is, and when as we try to do this, it really sucks. It's stupid. Like these AI agents, like three questions in, they're completely befuddled. And you could tell it's AI right away. And I believe, and I've said this before on these things, is that as we interact more with AI, we are all building antibodies towards it. We are starting to recognize what AI article looks like versus another one. It's deep. It's you can't really point it out maybe necessarily, but as we continue to get infected with AI, we're going to start to build antibodies to defend against it. So when you're talking about an agent, what you're going to end up with, if you because on the other side, on the procurement side, they're also using AI to make selections.
Right, right,
So
right.
what you'll end up with in a very short order is your genius AI agent talking to the procurement's AI agent, and the two bots will talk together, and never a customer is touched. And a purchase will be made, maybe not, but there'll be a lot of AI credits being sold as these idiots talk, or these idiot bots talk to each other about how to do things.
So Jason,
And
where are you on the whole AI SDR craze?
well,
Are you
that's
buying or
exactly what I'm
selling? Are you
saying.
buying, selling? Like, where are you? Like, are you?
I think that if you remove, for one thing, Amazon taught me one thing that I've kept from them ever since, and that is customer obsession. And that if you focus on the customer and you work backwards from the customer, success will come. And I think they've proven that in droves. In companies that have thought in that direction, success has come.
Yeah.
And where I think everybody's being lost here is that when they're deciding on how to implement AI, like an AI SDR, is they're not working backwards from the customer. They're
Mm,
working backwards from the CFO. And
mm,
that is the absolute worst place to work backwards from in order to get your customers to be delighted with your product. And I also believe that there's a lot of interaction that takes place with your customer, one-on-one individual interaction that is nonverbal, that is subtle, that is just building a relationship that an AI SDR is just never going to do. It's just never going to happen. And by the way, one of the things is like we all think AI is here. It's not even AI. It's not artificial intelligence. It's machine learning and deep learning,
mm.
which is, by the way, a dead end. It will never get to AGI in our current way. It's not scalable. We can't do it. And it has the awareness of a house cat, less than awareness of a house cat. So if you're selling a scam product, like if you're selling something, you're selling that tech support for the Microsoft virus that you implanted on somebody, or you're trying to get grandma to give you her retirement money, AI agents are great. But if you're trying to make an enterprise sale, you lose tremendous amount of knowledge and ability for that in relationship that you could build with a human. And I think it's a long way away from being something that would be useful. I think the opposite will happen.
Yeah, I think that you're seeing so in my experience, Jason, I think you're seeing a lot of blowback from misuse. 100% you are. Um, and yeah, but you know what's interesting? Okay, so I've been at this game for a long time. So maybe I haven't worked in all the greatest like you have. Like it seems like you Oracle and Google and Amazon. So you got all the merit badges. I only work at Outreach for the last 15 years. Um,
I had to bleed for each one of those merit badges. They weren't easy.
um, but I tell you, because the SDR role was a small role when I started, right? And you have seen a backwards and forwards of, does the AE own their pipeline or do they not own their pipeline? Who's responsible for PG? And what I tell you is the following: is that it's a hard job. And it's hard to, the job is to make, 20 calls and get told no 15 times, before you get a yes or a maybe. And but I don't think AI shortcuts that. You see what I mean? Because the reason somebody tells you no, it's not because they don't like you. It's because it's at the wrong time, it's the wrong product, you're the wrong person. This is not my top of mind priority. Bad product market fit, a number of things. And,
It's
and I
no
feel
for now, right? It's not no forever. It's
a
no for
hundred
now.
percent. And like
Yep.
what so the part that I don't like is that it's taking these reps, that these repetitions that every sales rep needs to do, away from the rep. So it's depriving them from the benefit of being told no. You don't become a sales rep, a great sales rep, if you don't go through this. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So the AI SDR, concept is sort of robbing a little bit people from their childhood. You see what I mean? From like the true
Yep.
experience of
Yes.
developing their calluses,
Right.
developing that mental toughness of how do you turn a no around. When somebody tells you, I don't have time right now, and you tell them, of course you don't, because you're busy. That's why I called you, so that we can talk tomorrow about this thing that is really important to you, because I found out from talking to your peer that this particular pitch will resonate with you. So that you don't get that by not doing it.
No.
You see what I mean?
Right.
Now,
Yes.
the AI SDRs, I think, do have a place in,
Can I
creating
can
some
I
relevant emails
pause
for you.
right there? Can I pause
Sure.
you 1 second? I just want to add a couple things before I forget it because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no,
they'll
please,
fall right
please.
out of my mind. So I think you're absolutely on the know. And one of the main things that I do whenever I come in as a consultant or I'm running a new sales organization is I train the reps to get me no's, and that is the metric that I track is how many you go get me 5 no's today. I don't tell them to
Mm,
get me 5 sales today. I tell them to go get me 5 no's today. And what you find is, and it's amazing because I've done this side by side with salespeople millions of times at this point, it is really hard to get somebody to tell you flat out no. You really have to push. Nobody
America is such
understands
a
this because
nice
everybody,
society, isn't it? Like
yeah, and
everybody,
and,
yes,
and everybody has this fallacy that they have something that they already have that they don't want to lose. So they're not fearless in asking questions. They're not fear. They have all this fear and they have all this kind of like, I'm going to lose this account. And that's a simple factor of not having enough accounts that you're working on, right? First of
right.
all, but getting the no is absolutely difficult. And
Yeah.
those are the other thing I always train everybody on, which is the simplest thing in the world, and everybody should use it, is the 5 whys. And that's just simply asking why 5 times.
Mm.
And you don't just ask why, although you could, and it actually works just by being a child. But you could be more, subtle about it and ask, why did you say this? Why did you do that? And that is something that is so far away from AI that I can't even imagine that it would be something that could be, because you're trying to get to the truth, and you can watch the people's face, kind of change from the protection, right? Of like, I have my answers to the first 3 whys. I've said it to the last 7 reps I've talked to. I will say it again and I will do it. And then when you get to the fourth one, they're like, and they start to feel, and now
Mm.
you're talking about something.
Mm.
And then that is when a trained rep who's had the reps, who had the things, will go into what is the emotional pain that you're doing, because people buy on pain, they don't buy on pleasure. And if you don't uncover the emotional pain, all you're doing is you're a line on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
You're not going it. You're not trying to solve their problems.
Yeah.
And
100%.
the SDR automation will just run over all of that.
100%. So my take on this, and again, like, I have a little bit of skin in the game because I'm a big shareholder in Outreach. I invented a lot of, what is happening out there. Is that it's not a replacement, and we didn't mean it to be a replacement. Like, it was never meant to be a replacement. It's like, we invented email sequences, and people immediately loaded up like all their crap shit into their sequencing and then just let that thing rip and like damage the main reputation, and they blame outreach for it. I'm like, come on, guys, like that didn't work before. What the hell made you think that that's gonna work now? You know, your
NT
your
plus OP, right?
your dumbass messaging like didn't work before. That
Yeah.
shit ain't gonna work now either. You see what I mean? So like, and it took us a while to get the right, framework in place for everybody to do it. But AI is going through exactly the same thing. Is
Yeah.
that is
The analogy I use for that, I
uh
like is like say, of course we're in political world now,
political
right?
land.
Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you go
Let it
you
rip,
go to
let it
you
rip.
buy a
Let's hear
hamburger,
it, let's
you're
hear it.
making a political decision at this point. Like no
Yeah,
matter
yeah,
what you do, like which sock do I put on first? Am I a right one or a left one? I don't know. I have to make a lot of decisions. The
yeah.
politics are just
It's
everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, so the analogy I look for the AI for people like you're just talking about who take their broken processes and bad messages that haven't been tested with real people and they just blast it out at thousands of degrees. It's like somebody having an political argument with you and you don't agree, and instead of like changing tact, all they do is start yelling the argument at you, which is what happens.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that is the equivalent of what's happening with the AI messaging, which is already wrong, already bad, already poor. And instead of just like having it trickle out with people, now they're screaming it out.
yeah,
And if you've ever been in a political argument, and I'm sure you have because we live in now,
yeah, yeah.
and somebody starts yelling at you, that is not the path to getting you to convince to their side, right? And then the same thing works
100%.
with this. It's like you cannot brute force your prospects into getting this like stuff going.
100%. 100%. So let me ask a question that my man Dustin Brown asked here in the chat is how do you like what happens when you're selling AI agents? Like let's put for a minute, like you are in the business of selling back end, back office AI agents, and you're selling these things. What happens to sales comp? What happens to seat pricing? What happens to the whole construct of SaaS? And so this is my take, and I want to get your reaction, Jason. Is that I think in 5 years the SaaS model is just gonna go away. And the reason it's going to go away is that every SaaS company will have an AI agent equivalent that is either done by themselves or done by somebody else. So either they stay in the game by disrupting themselves, coming up on an agent, moving from off seats and on a per agent per success basis, or somebody else is going to come do it for them. And then what does the rep, how does the rep compensation change? In the same way that you sold seats and now you're going to sell agents.
Right.
No different. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
so I think I honestly believe that the SaaS pricing model right now is completely and utterly broken and needs to be thrown away completely. That
100.
there is zero tie to customer success in 99% of the SaaS software that's sold out there today.
100%.
And I truly believe that if you so what does a company want to do? This is kind of the first. So if you take a step back, a company wants to make revenue by selling their products, right? How do they sell their products? They sell their products with happy customers that solve their problems. The more that they provide value to their customer, the more that they can charge for their product, and the more people want their product. Right? It's just simple
That's
stuff,
right.
right?
That's just a trade. That's a trade.
Unbelievably, that completely is forgotten by all the tech companies that I've worked for. They do not give a crap about any of that stuff. Like I
100%.
said, that sale is being made at the Yellowstone Club in Montana. It's with one CEO who knows the other CEO, and it's not about solving problems. It's not about that. And so none of it, there's no metric set for it. There's no skin in the game on either side. And if you have a broken old process, Salesforce says, hell yeah, that's 3 years of consulting
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
not
yeah.
trying to
Everybody
change
wins.
anything.
The
Yeah.
entire ecosystem win. The only loser is you.
Yes, exactly right. Who loses is well, who loses? Who really loses is the person, the sucker that has to use Salesforce every day
100%.
and has to go in there and enter the stuff or whatever garbage software is sold.
Yeah.
So I truly believe that if we so always incentives are drive outcomes, right? It's just and misaligned incentives drive misaligned outcomes. We look at our government and the Doge. We obviously are seeing a huge amount of misaligned incentives, right?
Mm.
If we could align our software businesses with the outcomes of the customer, one is we have to understand the customer enough to understand what their outcomes are. That right alone is a huge sea change. We aren't doing it.
What have we been doing for the past 20 years, brother? Like, come on. Like, isn't that the job?
Right.
We got one thing going on, and that is to get in our customers' business and understand what's going on for them and try to align our pricing and our software to them, no?
Yes, and we haven't. And the opposite is true. And now I think it's getting even worse. And I think there will be a giant pushback because I'm launching my new consulting company, by the way. It's called the Alpha Initiative. And the idea of the consulting company is to bring people back to basics, to bring a meritocracy back to companies, to bring
Mm,
innovation back, and to forget about all this noisy garbage that has cost companies, tremendous amounts of stuff.
yeah.
So as I'm doing that, though, the point of the saying is a subtle promotion too. But the
Do
point of
it.
it,
Do it.
I'm
Come on,
looking
man.
at
We're
all
all
the
selling here.
software.
We're good. We're good. Safe
I'm
space.
looking at all the software for my company to start off with, and everything has this hidden AI charge in it. Everything. Everything. You subscribe for 40 bucks a month. Okay, that's reasonable. I can do that. I'm just starting up. And then you start to use our new AI feature. All right, I type in one prompt. You've used one credit. You have 17 credits left. Buy the Pro Plus package for 3,000 more credits, and then you will get this. And I think people are already up to their eyeballs, and businesses are more that and subscriptions to begin with to have this extra charge. I mean, the FOMO is going to come soon that they're going to realize that, hey, wait a minute, this isn't really helping me. I don't need this extra charge. And the whole model of paying that extra 40 bucks plus this charge doesn't make any sense.
Ah,
It's not tied to any outcome. So
100%.
they've got like 15 different pricing models that they're trying to cram down on the enterprise in order to buy this stuff. And none of it has any connection to the outcomes of their business.
100%.
So without changing that, we're just rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic and we're trying to fleece our customer as much as we can.
So what do you make of the argument that outcome-based pricing is too complicated for enterprise buyers? What do you make of that?
Well, that's told somebody that says that has no understanding of that customer. They have no understanding of it. They are admitting that they don't know what their customer is.
100%. Yeah.
It's a one-to-one relationship that you need to build with your customer. Yes, you need to scale it, but you need to understand that business. Now, the good news is that once you understand one industry, most businesses kind of act the same in the same industry. So you don't have to constantly be reinventing the wheel on just defining outcomes. You can get to an 80% per industry of what the outcomes may be, and then tweak it to price it out that way. But a lot of people, so the whole platform thing kind of ruined the whole idea of what a business is. So it's like, I'm building a platform. I'm not building. So then you can be absolved of talking about industries. You can be absolved of talking about business outcomes. You can be absolved because I'm building a platform. It's a platform. So it can be anything, which means it's nothing. So what the question is that how do you go back to industry? How do you understand your customer? How you deeply ingrained in what they need to do and what your software does to solve their problem? You have to understand their problem. And then it's fairly easy and it's really highly connected to the customer's metrics. Now, their
So
success metrics
answer
are
the
tied to
question
that.
from Eric Charles here in the chat. He says it's too hard and like it's not gonna happen because it's too hard. So do we not do it because it's too hard, or do we do it because it's hard and it's the right thing to do?
If you follow a leader, you follow the leader.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
if you want to be the leader, you have to do something different. And right now, you've got a coordinated, basically duopoly, triopoly of software companies that are in charge of everything, making crap. It's crap. So if you can disrupt it, if I could say to you, okay, don't sign that contract with Microsoft 365 for $100 million. Instead, pay me nothing and just give me a percentage on every sale you make using our software or something simple like that. It changes the game completely. It changes,
Dude,
and
like
but
imagine if your cost goes up, their CFO is happy. Like when has that happened before, right?
right.
Because you're so aligned that you're both winning if you're paying more.
This is how I sold cloud. I sold cloud for startups all day long, saying that the reason that cloud is great for you is that if you get one more customer, it costs you this one more unit of compute, and
100%.
therefore it kind of goes together. As long as your margin is the same and you don't have a leaky bucket, your cost will rise with your
Cloud consumption.
with your money. And that's
100%.
that's the angle to look at is like how do you price it? So I always say it should be a 10x rule. If you're selling something to somebody, particularly an enterprise, should be a 10x rule. My value I'm providing you is 10x what your problem is. And if you can do that and align the pricing there, it not only aligns the incentives of your entire company towards a customer's success, but it aligns the incentives of the customers to their success because now they're looking at it. And you would just be shocked at how far away everyone has gone from customer obsession. The private equity companies and the CFOs run these companies without any understanding of what their customers are doing at the end result. They're just looking for, the big payout or the debt buyout.
100%. All right, brother. It's been so good to talk to you, Jason. So good to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure.
And that was a good, real conversation. I wish we had more of those. And Julia, back to you. I appreciate you putting us together. That was awesome.
Thank you so much, Manny, Jason. Our community is raving. This was really good. Let's do a promotional minute. Um, how can we support you, Jason? You mentioned the consultancy and Manny. I'm
Yeah.
assuming in your company. Yeah.
Yeah, so starting a company, I need help right now. I'm still starting it, but I need help because I'm one of the biggest problems I've identified with businesses right now is the HR Gestapo that's in charge of most businesses. And I know enough about it being suffered under their thumb, but I want some insiders that are willing to help me dismantle this giant format. So I need some HR pros that hate the way things are to help me fix it. So that's what I'm looking for right now, and it's just getting started. And if you have interest in improving your culture, innovation, and bringing back meritocracy, please reach out to me, and we can discuss it.
Jason, you have an awesome pitch. I don't know who wouldn't take you up on that. Like the
Let's hope. Well, maybe you could be
so
the first client.
well, I'm not an executive anymore, but if I was, I would definitely be texting you right now to have a side conversation. Me, I'm working on a new project right now. I appreciate everyone just joining, and for now, what you can do is just check out Outreach. We got a whole new lineup of products that hopefully deliver value for you. We're very proud that we began with elevating the role of that person who was in charge of pipeline. So come in, we have a lot more in store for you. We can replace a bunch of tools in one single solution that does the job and it doesn't charge you, a ton of money. So like we're excited about what we got going at Outreach in our AI offerings. But thank you all, and thank you, Julia and Justin, for putting us together. And Jason, excited for your entrepreneurship journey. It seems like you're just getting started. It's
Just getting
gonna be
started.
bumpy,
Yep.
probably on the way up, but that's that you sign up for that. So good luck and enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you.